Hello doctors, welcome back. In this video lecture, we will discuss the anatomy of the muscles of the lateral compartment of the forearm region. So there are two muscles of the lateral compartment of the forearm which are named as the brachioradialis muscle and the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. We will discuss each muscles in detail one by one. Now student, we will discuss the brachioradialis muscle, which is the muscles of the lateral compartment of the forearm region. Student, the brachioradialis muscle originates from the supracondylar ridge of the humerus bone. This is the lateral epicondyle, and this narrow elevation here, this is called the supracondylar ridge. So the brachioradialis muscle originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge and run inferiorly and attached to the styloid process of the radius bone. This is the styloid process of the radius bone. We have discussed this is in the osteology of the radius bone. Now student, moving toward the blood supply of the brachioradialis muscle. So this muscle is supplied by the radial recurrent artery. This is the radial recurrent artery and the radial collateral artery. The radial collateral artery and the radial recurrent artery. Student, these arteries are the branch of the brachial artery. Now student, moving toward the innervation of the brachioradialis muscle. So this muscle is innervated by the radialis muscle, and the radialis muscle originates from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Now student, the action of the brachioradialis muscle is it play important role in the flexion of the forearm at the elbow joint, and this muscle also play important role in the rotation of the forearm at the mid-prone position. Now student, as we have discussed the anatomy of the brachioradialis muscle, here we will overview this muscle as it originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus bone, and it insert into the base of the styloid process of the ulna. This muscle play important role in the flexion of the forearm at the elbow joint, and it also play important role in the rotation of the forearm at the mid-prone position. This muscle is supplied by the radial recurrent artery and the radial collateral artery, which is the branch of the profunda brachii artery, and the profunda brachii artery is the branch of the brachial artery. Student, this muscle is innervated by the radial nerve, and the radial nerve originates from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Now student, moving toward the another muscle of the lateral compartment of the forearm, which is the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. So we will isolate this muscle. As you can see student, this muscle also originates from the supracondylar ridge, lateral supracondylar ridge, and this muscle move or run inferiorly and laterally and passes posteriorly and insert into the base of the second metacarpal bone. This is the first metacarpal bone, this is the second metacarpal bone, third, fourth and fifth. So the tendon of the extensor carpi radialis muscle move from the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus bone and passes posteriorly and insert into the base of the second metacarpal bone. Now student, moving toward the blood supply of the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. So it is same as the brachioradialis muscle. It is supplied by the radial recurrent artery and the radial collateral artery. Now student, this muscle is also innervated by the radial nerve. This is the radial nerve. The radial nerve originates from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Now student, moving toward the action of the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. This muscle play important role in the extension of the hand, and it also play important role the abduction of the hand at the wrist joint. So it causes the extension of the hand and the abduction of the hand. Now student, as we have studied the anatomy of the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle, here we will overview this muscle as it originates from the supracondylar ridge of the humerus bone. It insert into the posterior surface of the base of the second metacarpal bone. It plays an important role in the extension and the abduction of the hand at the wrist. While this muscle is supplied by the radial recurrent artery and the radial collateral artery, which is same as the brachioradialis muscle. This muscle is also innervated by the radial nerve, which originates from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. So student, this was all about the muscles of the lateral compartment of the forearm. In next video, we will discuss the anatomy of the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm region.